things are yours. We are here confronted with a tremendous opportunity to enlarge our lives and enhance our world by taking both possession of and responsibility for every life, every idea, every race, every religion, every nation, every institution. We may say, like Ralph Waldo Emerson, I am the owner of the sphere, of the 7 stars in the solar year, of Caesar's hand and Plato's brain, of Lord Christ's heart and Shakespeare's strain. All things are yours. Try getting that message across in Somalia, where I went twice to feed the hungry refugees, poor and helpless, homeless, bellies bloated in the throes of the last stage of starvation, when the body actually seems to be fattening when in fact it is dying. Tell them all things are yours. Go to Chad, Rwanda, Sudan, Uganda, Somalia, Kenya, where there is terrible dislocation and sickness, 27 million untreated cases of AIDS. Tell them all things are yours. Come to our inner city and say to those who have no jobs, no health care, no housing, no food, no access to education, tell them all things are yours. It seems like a magnificent absurdity, and yet it is the truth and the challenge of this occasion. All things are yours, not by ownership, but by possession. Those two words have to be distinguished because they don't mean the same thing. To own is not necessarily to possess, and to possess is not necessarily to own what you possess. To own doesn't mean you possess it, and to possess it doesn't mean you own it. By diligent and protracted study, you may possess a good knowledge of English literature, German philosophy, African history, but you may not monopolize, dominate, control, or restrict these fields. Sometimes we think that recognition in a field of knowledge gives us at least partial ownership over the fields in which we have found recognition. But then along comes a Reinhold Niebuhr without a PhD, and scholars are forced to move over and make room for him. And then comes a W.E.B. Du Bois, and the white fraternity of the learned is no longer all white. And then come the Jews, and it is no longer all Christian. Then come the Muslims and the Hindus and the Baha'is and the Buddhists, and it is no longer all Judaic Christian. Then along come the women. And the fraternity becomes a frasority. Everybody has possession, but nobody ownership. Professor George Lyman Kittredge of Harvard was the greatest Shakespearean scholar that the world has ever known. But he had only a lowly bachelor's degree. And here he is, a professor at Harvard, the greatest expert the world has ever known on Shakespeare. And when a priggish prude asked him, Professor Kittredge, why is it that you don't have a PhD? He says, it's only because I can't find anyone who knows enough to examine me. Can we who are Christian own Jesus Christ? Sometimes we think we can. And then along comes a Mahatma Gandhi, whose morally demonstrated possession is far superior to our vaunted claims of orthodox ownership. I'm very happy that Martin Luther King, Jr. belongs to all of us. No one can own anything that is truly good. And yet everyone may possess goodness and grace and power and intelligence. The university has no exclusive on truth. The military has no copyright on power. The church has no patent on God. By the same token, there are certain things you may own but never possess. You may own a bank account and never use the money. You may own a car and never drive it, clothes and never wear them, a great library and never possess it in the sense of reading and understanding one of its volumes. You may own many pieces of African and European art, but you will never possess one of them unless you understand it and appreciate it. You can own 10 Bibles and a dozen Qurans, but you will not possess one of them until you open it, read it, and try to live by it. You may own an insurance policy on your life, but I'm afraid you will never live to possess its full benefits. So now that we have reviewed the difference between ownership and possession, we are free to possess without owning. The blue crystal lake, the vast gorgeous sky, the majesty of mountains, the mystery of sunrise, the evening star, the music of birds, the green of trees, the fragrance of flowers, the power of Beethoven's Ninth, the mind of Shakespeare, the mission of Morehouse, the heritage of Harvard, the wonder of Wayne State, the wisdom of Solomon, the music of David, the genius of Paul Robeson, the scholarship of Du Bois, the understanding of Einstein, the determination of Tubman, the diligence of Malcolm X, the industry and thrift of Booker T. Washington, stature of Nelson Mandela, the faith of Abraham, the courage of Jomo Kenyatta, the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr., the love of God, the grace of Christ, the fellowship and the power of faith, the strength of truth, the life of love, and the joy of service. All of these you can never own, but you can, and I hope you do, possess. So in the application and enjoyment of this vast freedom, be it resolved that we will never become narrow and bigoted and judgmental or prejudiced in our theology or practice of belief. Nobody wholly possesses the whole truth about anything. Nobody sees perfectly the whole revelation of the divine. No church, no doctrine, no practice, no religion can contain all there is of ultimate reality. No person is an island, and no group of persons can have a monopoly in the matters of the heart and the mind. And our affirmations of what we see and what we think must never be used by disparaging the equally valid experiences and certainties of others. For the opulence of faith cannot be reduced to any one particular national, racial, religious, or cultural dimension. Therefore, we are called upon to learn from many sources. If Apollos has anything to teach, we will learn it. If Paul can show us a mystery, we'll check it out. If Peter can explain anything, we'll listen to him. If science has anything to teach, we'll learn it. If philosophy has anything to contribute, we'll take that. If mathematics can explain anything, we'll master it. If religion can elevate our minds, we will study it. If European history can explain anything, we will learn it. And if African American history can represent the triumph of the human spirit over incredible agonies and aches, adversities and atrocities, we will know that too. For the universe that we inhabit is not a drab monotony of sickening sameness, but a wonderful variety of amazing differences. Look hard and you will see and celebrate something wonderful in every face